The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
People, what did Conor Garland do again? He told us, right? It's not about the size of your stick. It's about the size of your heart. Okay, size don't matter. Speaking of what matters, your Vancouver Canucks, bruh, they matter a lot. Let's talk about it.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving us a spot to produce this show. And man, oh man, your Canucks rock. They really do, okay? More on that in a minute. Today's episode is powered by FanDuel, okay? Use promo code Locked On at FanDuel.com, and they will do what? They will give you what? $150 on a winning $5 bet. Again, use promo code Locked On at FanDuel.com. Man, oh man, so many things to talk about. And yes, Trevor Bagg's not with us today. Why? Because he chose his family over you. Which is okay, right? Psych, not really. Why? Because he just missed something that was pretty unbelievable, okay? Trevor is watching the game in the future, right? He didn't have Wi-Fi. He's in the woods. He missed one of the greatest Canucks games of all time. Why? Because, again, he chose his family over the hockey team, over his first love, and that's the price you pay sometimes, especially in May. For real. Look what Mike's saying. He chose the beers, man. No point lying. Hey, Trevor's on vacation. One love to the second best dad in the world. Straight up, I mean this. I'm very proud of the father that dude is. That dude's going to save the world. Speaking of which, Conor Garland. Bro, he's going to save our dreams. I want to talk about this, man, because I think it's really, really true. We'll get into everything Conor Garland. We'll also talk about the UFAs, right? The Canucks UFAs, not the UFOs, dominated against the Oilers, and we got to talk about it, right? Who we keeping? Well, we'll talk about that in 10 minutes, and then we'll get to your comments as well. But yeah, let's talk about the small guy, okay? I got a soft spot, ironically, for small guys, because size doesn't matter. Not sure if you guys ever watched Mansers growing up, right? I'm a Hindu. Do the math. They really emphasize that point, right? Man, oh man, size. It don't matter. It's all about your confidence. It's all about your heart. It's all about your motivation. And I'm pretty sure Conor Garland, since day one, right? Day one as an Arizona Coyote, all the way back then, has been on a mission to prove this point that he is a really effective player. A really efficient player. A player that can create moments, not just with his tenacity, but with his skill. And we saw that last night, right? The moment doesn't get any bigger than that. At Rogers Arena, after a comeback, Garland makes a beautiful move. After skating through the neutral zone, receiving a pass from not only Zadorov, but Dakota Joshua. And again, Garland just has this elite finish. If Pettersson does that, bro, we don't stop talking about it. If McDavid does that, bro, you know the deal. The writing is on the wall. If Austin Matthews does that, bro, they're shutting Hockey Night in Canada down just to use that highlight game in and game out. Or day in and day out. You get what I'm saying? But it was Conor Garland. Big moment in Canada. Making a beautiful play against a pretty bad goaltender. More on that in like 20 minutes. But man, oh man, Conor Garland. Again, a really effective player. And I've said this in the past a couple of times, and I feel as if the West Coast bias wasn't the only fuel used to make this statement. And that statement is Conor Garland is one of the best forwards in hockey, especially when he's on. His puck retrieval, second to none. His speed. The dude is really fast. Has a motor. Has an engine. His tenacity. His aggressiveness. his forecheck. Really needed on this team. What an annoying player to play against. And we are so lucky to have him here in Vancouver. And then again, you sprinkle in the offensive skill set, and you have a pretty special player. And in the second half of this season for your Vancouver Canucks, in the regular season, he was our second best forward. That's just the truth. And if you look at the first half of the season when, yeah, he wasn't putting up the stats, he was still there, playing on one of the most effective lines in hockey. The truth, even if you throw it all the way back to November, when Pius Suter was on that line with Dakota Joshua and Conor Garland, and again, they weren't converting, he was there making sure the puck was in the offensive zone. And to do all that, again, playing on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, especially in a season where there were not only big-time rumors that you were open to a trade, it was the truth, and the truth is way more real than a rumor, right? And not only that, was that looming over this guy's head, this guy's career? He was still there, having to play in the bottom six, having to prove his point. And this is after a couple of seasons where, analytically speaking, this guy was a top 3, top 4 forward on a team that was, again, littered with some top-end talent, okay? A Garland going into the season, you look at the fancy stats. Why doesn't this guy get a longer opportunity with a guy like Pettersson? Why isn't he playing with Miller? After a couple games, he already gets demoted to play with Pius Suter. And what does he do? He makes the most of it. What a player. Conor Garland is our Connor McDavid. And I think, again, a lot of things happened yesterday. A lot of great things, a lot of magical things. We could talk about so many individual players. Miller, Zadorov, Joshua, Lindholm, which we're going to do in 5 minutes. But the lead really had to be given to this guy because I truly do believe that there is a world where Conor Garland outscores Connor McDavid in this playoff series. And I know that sounds crazy, but man, oh man, I really believe in that Garland guy. And he's a streaky player, especially on the score sheet. And a goal like that gives an already confident player, a player that doesn't even need to put up points to get that confidence, to get that swagger. Again, a goal like that gives him the ability to turn it back maybe. Okay, look at this guy's stats in junior. A long time ago, I know. But something tells me there's going to be another level to a guy that, again, wants to prove a point to the NHL. That he is one of the better forwards in hockey. And if that's the case, right? Think about this. And I said this yesterday many times, a couple times throughout the year. Maybe it's fueled by a lot of West Coast bias, but the eye test, right? It works. Look at my eyes. I look close into my eyes. They're working right now. They've been working all season. If Conor Garland does take his game in the playoffs to somewhat of a point per game level, right? That means, again, the Vancouver Canucks are probably the most stacked team in the NHL. Especially if Pettersson becomes the alien again. And even more so if Lindholm becomes that dog again. If Lindholm becomes that guy who wants a fresh new deal on July 1st. That's worth a lot. Okay, again, Lindholm playing for a lot. If those two guys bring their game to the next level, coinciding with Garland, JT Miller, Brock Besser turning into a two-way force, you start looking at that forward group, Dakota Joshua, 3-point game. Man, oh man. There's pieces everywhere. This team, man, pretty special, okay? For real. One love to Conor Garland. Our Connor McDavid. What? I know I'm crazy. I'm just impressed, man. That was a big-time moment, and that was a big-time goal. What a player. What a player. Anyways, let's get to the comments. And on the other side, after these comments and a break, we'll be talking about, again, the UFAs. The UFAs, man, they invaded Rogers Arena last night and absolutely dominated the Edmonton Oilers. Zadorov, Joshua, Lindholm did their thing. Beautiful. Anyways, the comments. Amphimous asking me if Mansers was on Spike TV. And yes, it was. And it broke my heart. Again, they had a segment on Mansers talking about, the smallest things. I'm not going to say what things is, but the smallest things in the world and what culture, what religion, what ethnicity had the smallest things. And there I was at the top of the list. But luckily, size don't matter, right? Size don't matter. Look at this comment, man. Conor Garland, St. Louis Light. A poor man's Martin St. Louis. That's crazy. That's crazy. But there is an insane amount of skill there. And also an insane amount of annoyance. Like, I would hate Conor Garland if he was on the other team, especially if he's scoring points. And there's a level of individual effort from that player where you could see a future in the immediate where he's just making things happen by himself. And we've seen it in spurts throughout the season. We didn't see it too much in round one, but after a performance like that, where he was buzzing all game, especially early in the game when the game was already 1-0, he was our best player in the first period. You look at what happened in the second period to start things off. Whose line scored a goal, right? The Garland line with Joshua and Lindholm. It just looking like this could be a series where, again, Conor Garland outscores Connor McDavid. Yo, bro, this is after one game. Look at me. But I see it, man. I see the holes in Edmonton's defense. I've kind of seen it all year, every time we've played them. And if I feel as if there's room there for a guy like Garland to maneuver and make things happen. Straight up. But look at this comment from Lyndon Bateman, okay? I'm a Canucks fan, a true one. And I watched the game last night, and that was luck and skill that was involved in the game. You know what? Every good team gets lucky. At the same time, though, when the score was 4-1 for the Oilers, you want to talk about luck. There wasn't a team in the playoffs that has generated 4 goals like that where it was all based on luck, in my opinion. I mean, the first power play goal, maybe you can give them that. But even how they got that power play was quote-unquote lucky. All in all, though, when the score was 4-1, I wasn't concerned because I felt as if the whole time the Canucks were proving that they were, once again, the better team against the Oilers. And all they had to do was put more on net against a really, really shaky goaltender. Just the truth. Okay? Look at this comment, man. Lodestar Sprayer. Miller is a hero. JT Miller, man. That guy's a dog. Look at Zarfy, man. Miller's goal was sick AF. It really was, man. That guy is an outlier type of player. He does a little bit of everything, and that goal was beautiful, man. JT Miller. Okay, we'll get to more of your comments throughout the show. Let's have some fun. Again, Trevor Begg's not with us because he's just a great father, man. He'd rather be in the moment with his children than have Wi-Fi. Who is like that in 2024? Trevor Beggs. Again, second best dad in the world. I think he'll be back tomorrow, though. I think he's actually going to be in Alberta. Right now, he's in Arkansas, Nebraska, Indiana, I think. That's the city he's in. Anyways, well, let's get to break. Talk about the UFAs, okay? Well, which UFAs are we going to keep? Because that was something else. The agents of Lindholm, Zadorov, and Joshua were going nuts because the only reason the Canucks won that game was because those guys came to play and possibly played the best games of their lives, considering who they were playing up against. For real. That's just the truth. Again, though, let's get to break. You're listening to Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Does Art Lab. Again, looking after its neighbors. We're allowed to produce the show in the studio, and that's a blessing, man. It really is. Again, one love to the Don't Does Art Lab. And Locked On Canucks. We'll see you on the other side.
It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150, American dollars that is, in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. And I'm telling you, that American dollars matters because I'm in the States right now, and that American dollar, it goes a little further than the Canadian dollar, if you know what I mean, okay? Again, if you're on FanDuel and you're making that first bet, that's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more, okay? And if I'm looking at these series, okay, I know we're the playoffs now, But, the big bad Bruins, are they really going to beat the Panthers? I don't think so, okay? I don't think so. Your Vancouver Canucks, come on, they're underdogs. You know the deal. You got to bet on the Vancouver Canucks as well, okay? Whoever you're betting on, whether it's NHL, NBA, MLB, again, it's the most wonderful time of the year. So make sure you go bet some big bucks at FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, you know the deal. They're America's #1 sportsbook.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
People, we doing this. And that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. The morning after they pulled off the improbable, and that's coming back from a 4-1 deficit against the Edmonton Oilers. Man, oh man, I'm not going to front. I kicked my homie in the balls after we scored the 4th goal, okay? It was a jumping karate celebration. I've never done that one before. And there I was, kicking my homie Adrian in the balls, okay? Luckily, he doesn't hold a grudge. And again, I'm pretty sure he's Fijian too, like me, so do the math, right? Size don't matter. When you got a small, you know what? You get hit down there, it's not the biggest of deals, okay? Do the math. Anyways, my name's Kyle Bowen. Again, giving you this conversation with you and you and you and you and you and you listening on all those podcast platforms and on YouTube Live. Man, oh man, we are truly blessed. And we are truly blessed that Craig Conroy was stupid enough to lend Vancouver the opportunity to find success. And I get it, right? Craig Conroy, GM of the Calgary Flames, they're in an abyss, right? They really are. They're not part of the NHL conversation. They're rebuilding. And they had Zadorov and Lindholm, and maybe, just maybe, it was smart of them to take the best offer available, regardless of what team was giving them the assets required to get those 2 guys off the roster. But man, oh man, if I'm a GM of any team, the last thing I want to do is trade my guys, some of the most coveted guys on the trade list, to a division rival. Why? Because, man, oh man, the Vancouver Canucks, 14 months ago, 15 months ago, we're not feeling like this, okay? There was a stink in that room, as Quinn Hughes alluded to yesterday, right? And why, just why, would you risk giving a rival an opportunity to find culture, to find success, to find that attitude, right? Because regardless if Zadorov and Lindholm stay, this winning that we're doing right now and the celebrating that we're doing right now and the crowd being this loud and giving the boys energy right now, all of those things that are happening right now are going to carry over to next season. Again, regardless of Lindholm and Zadorov sticking around. It's that swagger. It's that belief. Again, it's that culture that wasn't here that long ago. And that's Craig Conroy, on the other side, kind of gifting that to the Vancouver Canucks. And that's dangerous territory. It really is. Speaking of which, speaking of culture, Nikita Zadorov. What a guy. 3 goals in 7 games in the playoffs. This is a guy that scored what? Was it 14 goals a handful of months ago? You know what I'm saying? He was that guy. He can put the puck in the back of the net. And I feel as if he's finding that swagger. And this is another guy, and we'll talk about all these UFAs who have a lot to prove and who are playing for a lot, because everyone, yes, everyone is watching this series. I feel as if these players, individually speaking, right, have the opportunity to exceed expectations, be big parts of a win against the Edmonton Oilers, and ultimately make close to $500,000 to $1 million more based on, again, the outcome of this series. It's a big deal. And Nikita Zadorov, a big deal too. The composure, not only on a lot of his breakouts in the defensive zone. Again, the Oilers had less than 20 shots last night. Unbelievable. But man, oh man, this guy behind the net after he just tied the game for his club. The crowd is jumping. The crowd is buzzing. The score is 4-4. The Oilers in the offensive zone. Quote unquote, somewhat pinning the Vancouver Canucks, right? They're trying to get it back. And what does Zadorov do? He has the puck behind the net. And instead of ringing it around the boards, he just stops. And everyone stops. That's how much power Nikita Zadorov has right now. He's controlling the pace of the game. A lot of defensemen aren't making that play that Zadorov made to get the Canucks the 5-4 goal. Again, he stays behind the net. He stops. Everyone plays at his pace. The play progresses, and what happens? Joshua gets open in the middle. Zadorov makes a beautiful tape-to-tape pass. Joshua gets to Garland, and Garland does the rest. Zadorov did all that in like 90 seconds. He's a player that's gotten a lot better since November. It's just the truth. He's a player that, after acquiring him, there was a sentiment that, this guy could be a good number 5-6 defenseman. If he limited his mistakes, he's an everyday defenseman on a good team. He's got that size. He's got that tenacity. There's somewhat of a player there. But at the same time, there's also that comparison to Tyler Myers, right? Like, where's the floor with this guy? And if it falls out, is he costing you a game? But man, Nikita Zadorov, Zadorov paired up with not only Rick Tocchet, but Adam Foote more specifically, is transforming before our eyes. And yeah, I get it. He's got a lot to play for, individually speaking, right? Contract years connect to these types of performances more often than not. And that's just life, right? He's got a lot to play for, his future, and millions of dollars. But to do so on the west coast, the best coast of Canada, in Vancouver, this pressure cooker, to elevate your game, man, oh man, it's a testament to the player he's becoming. A player that you can't give up. Rick Tocchet loves this guy. Rick Tocchet describes this guy as one of the true leaders on the team. And for him to put himself in that position after only being here for a handful of months, it's pretty special. And again, Quinn Hughes alluding to the stink that was in the room prior to the season, or prior to Tocchet getting here last season. I think a guy like Nikita Zadorov accelerates removing all that stink. And this is a totally different team. And Nikita Zadorov, not only a totally different defenseman, but a huge piece to the future of the Vancouver Canucks. AKA, they need to sign him. Okay, let me know in the comments below how much you signing a guy like Nikita Zadorov for. How much you signing a guy like Dakota Joshua for? This guy picked up 3 points against the Edmonton Oilers. What did he do in Game 1 against the Nashville Predators, the series before? 2 goals. Big-time player at Rogers Arena. You want to talk about playoff performance? Yes, he was a little quiet in Nashville after Game 1. But everyone was quiet against Nashville. That was a lame series. I never want to see another playoff series like that again. But fast forward to the moment, pressure cooker situation. You're down throughout this whole game against the Oilers and McDavid, and we're the underdog, and blah, blah, blah. And what does Joshua do? He's effective. He's efficient. And he's doing the most. Speaking of which, the game is 4-1 in the second period. I don't know if you noticed this, but let me talk about it, because this is when I fell in love with the player again. Well, I would say all over again. It went to a new level, because Dakota Joshua, not only has he proven me wrong all season, he's just elevated himself to become, again, a really effective player. It's pretty evident that this guy is a pretty good NHLer. Where am I going with this? Oh, yeah, it's 4-1. 4-1.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about the technical difficulties, okay? There's some Wi-Fi problems right now. Anyways, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, Dakota Joshua, 4-1 game. The roof is caving in. We allowed 2 goals in 45 seconds, and there's the third line shift, right? Third line shift, the Canucks are in the offensive zone. That being said, it's already been like a 30 to 45-second shift. There's an opportunity for Dakota Joshua to peel off and make a change because the Oilers retrieve the puck. But you could see it in Joshua's eyes that even though 20% of his body was going towards the bench, the other 80% was destined to finish a check. to add more will into the game, even though the score was 4-1 against this dominant Oilers team, right? Like, it's just little things like that. The fact that he chose to take the body instead of peeling off for a change that ultimately led to the Lindholm goal a few seconds later was quite clear, in my opinion. The shift that changed everything, okay? The moment that changed everything. It wasn't just the Lindholm goal. It was that body check, the 1 of 8 that Dakota Joshua threw in that game. It's the details, right? The details, the little things. And Joshua been doing it. What a player. Speaking of Lindholm, was that the best game of his Canuck career? Obviously, 5 hits, 5 shots, 2 points, 14 of 18 on the draw, and a big piece of the puzzle, right? The big piece of the puzzle. And if he's able to, again, take in this moment, be a Vancouver Canuck, understand what this series means to the franchise, and also as an individual, understand how this could be the make or break series for you when it comes to the level of contract you're about to sign. If he just puts that all together and, just has fun out there, we could be seeing an elite version of Lindholm. Game in and game out. Can he do what he did yesterday? And there's a chance of that. There really is. It's just the truth. The Canucks gave up a lot for him. Why? Because he's a great player. And what we saw yesterday was not only fresh because, this fan base has been waiting for more consistency and more flashes of superstardom from this guy. It was also fresh because I didn't know he could throw the body like that. You know what I'm saying? 5 hits, and a couple of them were thunderous. He's involved. This series means a lot to him. He probably really wants to beat the Edmonton Oilers, being an ex-Calgary Flame, right? And again, he may understand that this series, a series in which everyone is watching, may lead to him getting what he wants, what he deserves in his eyes, and that's a big deal, a really big deal. And I'll end it on this note, right? This segment of the show. We'll get to your comments at the end, but man, oh man, if he, again, continues to play like this and Pettersson wakes up, what other team in the NHL is deep down the middle like the Vancouver Canucks? Lindholm, Miller, and Pettersson. Miller, Pettersson, and Lindholm. Pettersson, Miller, and Lindholm. This is something else. This is something beautiful, man. Last night was beautiful. That being said, last night was last night, okay? Let's move on to Game 2, and let's move on with the show and get to your comments. What do you think the Canucks have to do to win Game 2? Let's talk about that on the other side, okay? And again, predict some of the contracts that these players may be getting, whether they be with the Canucks or not. It's so crazy how we talked about all that and did not mention Filip Hronek, okay? Again, the UFAs dominated the Oilers and not the RFAs. That being said, Hronek did make a nice play against McDavid. Anywho, let's get to the comments on the other side. Let's cut to one more break. Man, oh man, we're having some fun. You deserve this. Shout out to the West Coast, the best coast of Canada. And again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks.
All right, Trevor Banks here. Game off. Shut up, Kyle, because we got to talk here and pause. And we sorry. Let's try that one more time, actually. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, game off. Shut up, Trevor. Shut up, Kyle. We got to pause here and talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in that. Unbelievable, man. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, shut up, Kyle. Game off. We got to pause here and talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. You already talked about that, but there's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for time tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get, including unique stickers you can trade with a friend to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, and hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. What the hell is that? I don't even know, man. But there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. So there's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on!
Man, oh man, Trevor Beggs, dude. Took him about 4 takes to get through that ad. And as Mike is alluding to, drunk Beggsy doing work, okay? This is why you don't drink on the job. Unbelievable, man. That being said, you got to drink on vacation. It's just the truth, man. Nothing better than a 10 a.m. beer alongside some cinnamon toast crunch. You ever tried that out? You should. Why? Because you live one life. Speaking of which, you live one life, okay? Why not? Why not believe this, okay? And I've been saying it all year because you never know. We've never done it before. I don't know the equation on how to win a Stanley Cup, but start believing that it could happen this year, okay? You got to do it. We just talked about the list of UFAs that we have on this team. We didn't even mention Ian Cole or Sam Lafferty and all that jazz, all right? A lot is riding on this season. Again, your Vancouver Canucks, they've done what? They traded about 10 picks in the last 14 months. They happen to be in this position where they're in the what? The final 8, okay? Have a chance to do something special. Why not believe that this is the season where your Canucks win the Stanley Cup? It could happen, okay? Dream big. Got to dream big here on Locked On Canucks. Anywho, let's get to the comments. You guys are buzzing off, and then I'll get out of here. Look at this one from Kyle Levette, okay? Who's Kyle Levette? Who is this guy? He sounds like a guy who never wins a beer pong tournament, okay? That's just the truth. He's saying, what a game, big dog. Yeah, that one definitely ranks in like the top 10 Canuck games I've ever watched in my life. That's just the truth. Okay? Look at this comment from Infamous. This is the order of signees he thinks the Canucks should have on that list, right? That pecking order. It should go Big Zadorov, Lindholm, and then Joshua. Damn, Joshua number 3 on this list. Lindholm number 2. It's gonna be hard, man. If Lindholm plays like he did yesterday throughout the rest of the way, man, oh man, it's gonna be so hard to keep that guy because didn't he deny like an $8 million deal with Calgary? You know what I'm saying? He's probably looking for that money, and yeah. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you give Lindholm more than 7 or 8? It may just be a rental. But again, it's worth it, man. Like I think the Canucks can beat the Oilers one step at a time. But this is why you make trades like that. Like Kuzmenko is not battling the way Lindholm is, right? And if Lindholm is engaged physically and dominating on the draw, and he's able to instill some confidence within himself, and then he's also surrounded by Garland and Joshua, there is that recipe where, offensively speaking, he can do as much, if not more, than Kuzmenko would. And then he's turning himself into, once again, one of the premier players in hockey, right? He's 2 years away, removed from being a Selke nominee or getting some Selke votes. You get what I'm saying? Yo, the Canucks are close, and this is why this year got to be the year. The Canucks are close. They're like a Pettersson breakthrough away and another couple Lindholm games away in having, again, a quartet of centers that go like this. I didn't mention Bluger's name first when I first did this, but I'm going to do it now. JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Elias Lindholm, and Teddy Bluger. Well, when's it going to get better than that? Do the math, okay? Do the math. How about this one? GV, straight from Ireland, okay? The sun was up and the birds were chirping when we won. So thankful that game did not go to OT again. I feel as if the game started for GV all the way in Ireland at 2:30 in the morning. And what did he do? Watched it the whole way through. Guy's a warrior. Guy's a warrior. Look at this comment from Mike, man. This is a dark comment. Where's the thunder? We can keep all the UFAs if we ditch Mikheyev and Hronek. The Leafs would probably pay a lot for Hronek. Dude, it's a collective team effort, and I know Adam Foote could do a lot with a lot of defensemen, and maybe the Canucks can replace Hronek and still be this good defensively, but man, oh man, he's a big piece of this puzzle too. I know. I know Zadorov is outscoring him by a lot now over the last 20 games or 30 games, but again, there's something special about Hronek. He'll get his offensive game going. But remember, Mike, that play he made against McDavid in a big game, a pressure cooker game, was pretty special. On that note, remember that play 4-on-4 that Pettersson made against McDavid, breaking up a breakaway? Remember that? What happened shortly after? Did we score? I think so. Pettersson, man. It was the details in the game. And yesterday, for about a couple minutes in the third period, he was quote-unquote physically dominant as a guy like Pettersson could be. And I feel as if he contributed a lot to the win. Just the truth, man. How about this comment from Wild Eyes, man? I hope the Oilers keep underestimating us to the end. Just makes the win sweeter. Okay, well, what's up with the Oilers, man? This Canucks team has beaten you 5 times, and their post-game comments were very... maybe this is what a team has to do, right? They got to be confident. They got to be a little arrogant in their post-game remarks after blowing a big lead, just to, instill some confidence within the room. But man, oh man, for Stuart Skinner to say, individually speaking, I thought I played pretty good up until the third period. Bro, you slipped and fell behind the net. You took the dumbest penalty a goalie could take, one of the only penalties a goalie could take, and you scored in your own net before the third period started. And this guy's saying individually, he played a good game. Dude, you were stumbling the whole game. And there's this comment right here from GV again, straight from Ireland, okay? He told his friend last night that I wasn't even worried when we were down. We're better than these guys, and the bounces will eventually all go in, right? West Coast bias and 5. Bro, a big reason why I wasn't worried when the score was 4-1 was because, A, there was still a lot of time left on the clock. And in my opinion, Stuart Skinner from the jump looked like he was going to play a really, really shaky game. He was nervous. And if he's not aware of his play going into the third period and he has like this arrogance about him, I feel as if it's a testament to him not appreciating who the Vancouver Canucks are. And if the Oilers continue to play like they did last night, given our guys that amount of space, they're going to burn you. They really are. And out of their top 3 lines, if one is not going, 5-on-5, like Pettersson, Höglander, and Mikheyev they weren't going. You still got to deal with Lindholm, Garland, and Joshua, and Miller, Besser, and Suter, who did an incredible job against McDavid. The Vancouver Canucks, they're a pretty dangerous team. You know how going into the series, everyone's like, yo, Edmonton's a whole different predator than the Nashville Predators, bro. Offensively speaking, we're a different beast compared to the LA Kings. Just the truth. Just the truth, man. And then you had like McDavid and their coach saying that they just gave the game away to us. Bro, the Canucks took the game. They ripped it apart from you. And to be honest, outside of a couple of minutes, the Canucks were by far and away the better team the whole way through. Now look at Infamous, man. The Vancouver Canucks are good. Hey. What's the math, right? 3, 4, 10. Is it 3, 4, 10? Are we 10 wins away? No. 11, right? 11 wins away from doing the unthinkable. That was crazy, man. That was crazy. Okay, look at this comment from Mike, a really important one. And I know we're going to overtime, but hey, it's the playoffs, baby. It's the morning. I'm sorry, Locked On. It is what it is. But look at this comment from Mike, okay? Draisaitl looked like he was in a lot of pain. He literally collapsed on the ice. That happened too. And you know what? Going into the third period, down 4-2, yeah, I wanted the Canucks to win. But it was also due in large part to the fact that I didn't want the Oilers to get a win in which they were getting dominated in, and McDavid wasn't doing much, and Draisaitl got hurt. I feel as if you can't let the Oilers escape game 1 with the win with all those calculations, and I'm glad that the Canucks were able to not just hold off their stars 5-on-5, but take advantage of the moment, the opportunity. And again, when Draisaitl goes down, you got to win those games. It's just the truth. When Draisaitl misses the period, you got to win those games. Those little things are the difference in a series. And can we bring up Nikita Zadorov too, man? Look at this guy giving a cross check to Draisaitl after he comes back from his injury, okay? That's when you know this dude wants to smoke. When you do that to a guy like Leon Draisaitl after he already got injured, you're putting a target on your back. Nikita Zadorov isn't scared of anything. In fact, the only thing that he wants in this thing called his life is Vancouver Canucks victories. Okay, and he knows what he has to do in the playoffs, and that's supply the force, man. Straight up. And for him to be mean and be a bully and attempt to hurt Draisaitl even more, it speaks a lot to, again, the culture of the Vancouver Canucks. The Vancouver Canucks are a hard team to beat. Man, oh man. Something else, man. Something else. Look at this comment from Garrett, okay? I guess it's got to be the last one. We're already at 40 minutes. You know who else they got for the playoffs? Ian Cole, okay? Ian Cole, man, oh man. I guess Garrett saw something in the third period that made him think that Ian Cole deserved some love for what he did in game 1 against the Oilers, because, man, oh man, this guy was playing for the Oilers last night. How did the Canucks win a game in which they were down 4-1 and one of their defensemen were literally playing on the other team? I have never seen that. I've never seen that. Ian Cole cost this team 3 goals. And he's got to be a lot better. Every single time the Canucks made a mistake, it was in the back of our net. Speaking of which, somebody just asked me too. I think it was Garrett as well. Shelovs or DeSmith for game 2? Shelovs, man. You know what? I get it, right? You do the math. The save percentage doesn't look good. You want him to have the Hyman goal. All that jazz. I get it. But look at what he's done for us already in the playoffs, and look at what he did in that third period. He made a couple big saves. Just the truth, okay? He wasn't asked to do a lot, but the fact he was able to do that after the team came back and after, struggling in the first 40 minutes of the game, it just shows how calm and poised this guy is, how much belief the team has in him. And I feel as if he's just, again, still the better choice over Casey DeSmith at the end of the day. Just the better goaltender. And they have to ride that. Man, oh man. Anyways, I got to get out of here, okay? I'm going to get in trouble that this episode's 42 minutes long, okay? My name's Kyle Bowen, KYLEBHAWAN. Man, oh man, one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab once again for looking after that West Coast bias. One love to Locked On Canucks for doing their thing, okay? And the Locked On Podcast Network for telling us that we got to give it to the people every day, okay? It's your Canucks every day, and your Canucks for 43 minutes, man, again. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. And that's why you got to hit the like button right now, okay? So I don't get in a lot of trouble. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, go Canucks go. You deserve this. Dream big today, work hard today, work hard tomorrow, and dream big tomorrow as well, so that you can just take the night off, because game 2 is tomorrow on a Friday night in Vancouver. And, dude, hockey is great again. We are truly blessed. One love to all our sponsors. And, yeah, let me get out of here, man. Have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. If you're not watching this on YouTube Live, I do not know when you're watching or listening to this, but, hey, we appreciate it. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.